today I have made a decision. We've had such a warm fall here, and my garden is still working. It's got a lot of tomatoes in it, little cherry tomatoes and things. And I've just decided now it is time to pick these tomatoes and pull these vines and get ready for winter, get this garden ready for winter. I have actually done my quote unquote last picking of tomatoes several times during in the last 6 weeks. We had a little scare of a frost that really didn't materialize, so I picked all my tomatoes, and that was like now 5 weeks ago. And you know, they just continued to produce, mainly cherry tomatoes at this point. So today I'm actually going to do a couple things. I got 2 containers out here, and I am going to pick all the green tomatoes and make pickles with them. And I'm going to pick all the little red tomatoes and make tomato sauce. And I'm really curious to see how many I get, because I just did a big picking not too long ago, maybe about a week ago or a week and a half ago. So let's see what we got. It's going to be a little bit of a hunt because they're sort of tucked in many different places. I guess I'll use 2 different buckets and pick what I can find just wherever I can find it. I'm going to give you a little hint. When you're picking all these little cherry tomatoes, if you're planning on working with them, they're lovely, they're delicious, but I now start pulling off the tops as I pick them, because I find that once I get into the house, it's a very tedious job. I just do it as I go, and then I can be outside in the beautiful air, which I totally love. Here's a pile of green ones right here. I do the same with the greens. I just pull the tops off, and that way I don't have to mess with them. And then I throw them right just back in the bed. So, it's a little bit of organic material. Every little bit helps, in my view. You just keep looking and you see them everywhere. These plants have been amazingly productive. Cherry tomatoes really produce the nicest sauce. Super concentrated flavor. Those won't make it to the kitchen. I wonder if I'll get more green or more red. Ooh-wee. Look at all these tomatoes. Sweet little things. I'm so sorry, tomato plant, but the time is now. The time has come for all good tomato plants to go to the compost heap and kitchen. You have been a wonderful tomato plant. Actually, more than one plant, but awesome. Awesome production on this. And I just let them kind of go crazy. I had onions growing here, and I've got flowers growing in here, and these tomato plants just self-seeded. And so I just said, I'm not going to tend them. I did prop them up so they weren't all over the ground. And they have gone wild, and they have grown and been their tomato selves. And boy, oh boy, have they been productive tomatoes. It's kind of meditative being out and picking something like this. And some people might find it very tedious. I find that I can get myself away from things that distract me. I can think about nothing that's terribly well, I can think thought-provoking things, but not things that stress me out and upset me. Which is actually one of the reasons why I started gardening, like many people during the pandemic, I needed something that made me feel like I was somewhat in control. And also, you're in one place, and you just feel so helpless. I didn't do it because of food security or anything like that. I did it because we'd relocated here for the pandemic to the house where I was born, where my father used to live before he passed away, and my mother, and we were planning on coming down here just for spring break, because I was a teacher, and we had spring break, and then the pandemic hit, and we just sort of didn't leave. And as the pandemic wore on, it was very stressful especially that first year, before the vaccines came, and before they really understood what it was that we were dealing with. And so I decided at that point that I would actually start reviving my dad's garden, which I call my kitchen garden now because it's right outside my garden. And I just found what I would do is, like many people, you're sitting and working from home, and I would work, I would teach my class. We had long classes at my school, so the class periods were long, and I would go and I'd teach my class, and then I'd go for 20 minutes. The students had 20-minute breaks between classes. And so during that 20 minutes, I'd just go outside and I'd start kind of poking around in that garden. And, I learned that was something that would just help me get through that very, very uncertain time. Anybody on here? But I really enjoyed it. And as time wore on, I decided we were fortunate, and we were hitting our retirement era. So my husband and I became part of what they call the Great Resignation. We stopped our jobs, made major life changes. We didn't intend to move here full time, and we're not here all the time. We go back and forth between our city home in Baltimore City and here. A little bit further of a commute than I'd like, but it's a real pleasure and a privilege to be able to have this country retreat. It is not a fancy place here. Has a lot of work to do. Gardening has become now a big part of my life, and I started this YouTube channel. Why did I start this YouTube channel? Because my great niece kept saying, "You should do." I would make just videos of kind of to document for myself what was happening in my garden, and to because it was so pretty and I was so amazed at the things that were happening in the garden world, and you just observe nature so much, right? So my great niece Anne-Marie and my son Nathan were like, "You have to start a YouTube channel." I'm like, nobody's gonna watch me. I'm just a regular person. And that's true. I'm just a regular person. I'm not an expert. I've learned a lot in 5 years of gardening, but so I said, they just kept goading me, and you know how teenagers can be goading you. And I said, all right, you guys, if you want me to do this, you're going to have to help me get started. I was pretty tech savvy, but I was not a video maker at all. I created a lot of content for my teaching, but I didn't know anything about I knew what YouTube was, of course, and I knew how to access YouTube, but anyway, so to get them to shut up about it, I said, all right, in a moment of weakness. So they got me started. It wasn't really that hard to get started, and I slowly learned how to make videos. Nothing fancy, of course, because what you're seeing is nothing fancy. And I put them out there not knowing what. And, I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm not a big content producer. I don't have sponsors. I'm not looking for that at all. But what I've found is it has given me community, which is something that I grew up here, but I don't really know a lot of people here anymore. And it has really been rewarding to have the connections with people. So that's that. Here comes Sage. I'm picking tomatoes and talking to myself. Hey, could you go get me my wheelbarrow, please? Good to have somebody around to help. These are just masonry. What do they call them? Masonry ladders, I think is what they're called. You can just get them at Lowe's or Home Depot or someplace like that. They're nice because you can bend them into trellises, and they're pretty durable. Here comes the wheelbarrow. Yay. Oh, thank you for bringing me my wheelbarrow. Now I can stick all this in here. Okay. I do find that I miss my students a lot. I miss my students. I miss the interactive and the creativity of teaching that teaching requires. Unfortunately, I was in a school that really encouraged teachers to be very creative and innovative and gave us lots of room to do that. I was very fortunate. I found that the process of making videos is much like the process of trying to craft a lesson plan or come up with something. My teaching was always what I would call planned spontaneity, in which I would go in with a very intentional plan and sort of an outline and very much details about what I wanted to go through. But I would always find that in the middle of what I was doing, there was a better way to convey something or do something. And so I developed, I guess you would say, just the ability to change focus very quickly or to convey something in a way that I maybe hadn't planned or recognized that it was a better way to convey it. And kind of producing these videos is the same way. People say, do you plan what you're going to say? And I don't. Do you have a script? I don't. Really what you're seeing on my videos is an edited version of just what I do. I come out, I'm in my garden, I'm working, I'm thinking, I'm seeing something maybe that I'm like, oh, maybe that would be something worth sharing. But I don't have like I'm not a professional. I don't have like a script, a storyboard, all of that stuff. So it's kind of what I do and how I approach this. And I find that it scratches that itch for the creativity, the creative piece that I miss. I do have a lot of other creative outlets, but that I guess the verbal communication is something, the interacting with other people. So basically, I just pretend that you're my students. I'm not trying to teach you something, but you're just the people that are around me, and I'm talking about what I'm doing and whatever. So yes, I talk to myself. I mean, if I wasn't making videos and putting them up, I'd be talking to myself. But as long as I don't talk back, at least with the YouTube, sometimes I get people talking back with me in a good way, occasionally in a not so pleasant way, but by and large, it's been a very pleasant experience. Try to share a little positivity in the world, keeping it relatively positive, because there are things in the world that maybe won't make you happy, or things that happen that are stressful. That's for sure. And I am certainly, ask anybody in my family, I hide it well, but I can be a stress ball. Am I right, Nathan? Nathan will say, oh yeah, that's my mom. Doing this also helps me not pine away so much for the fact that my baby is not a baby anymore at all. He's a 21-year-old man in college and figuring out what he wants to do in the world. This is the philosophical tomato picking experience. See what I mean when I say that gardening, it gives me this chance to think about things and just ponder away, kind of articulate in my own mind the things that maybe I don't really want to, haven't really thought about that much, or have thought about but really haven't put my thoughts together about them. This is getting cleaned out. I like the way I'm doing this, just kind of piece by piece, chopping the vines as I go. It's definitely enabling me to get into this mess. And the mess it is, for sure. Still plenty of life left in these vines, that is for sure. Now I can see the lantana down here. Well, I pretty much got everything picked. All my ripe tomatoes, my little cherry tomatoes. Weigh them. But I'm thinking this is about maybe, feels like about 4 pounds, which is going to give a nice batch of tomato sauce. And here are my green cherry tomatoes, which are going to become pickles. And you can check out how I make my green tomato pickles. I have a very quick video up on that. I'll try to remember to put it in the description for this episode. If I don't, remind me. So now I'm just kind of cutting out all of the growth here. And then tomorrow I'll come in and I will start to put my this bed to bed. Although I've still got a lot of flowers blooming, so I might just leave them and kind of work around them. But I want to get some compost and some hay into this space. With that, you've had a bit of musing of why I do what I do and how I do it, and why this whole YouTube thing got going, and what it means to me, and what my garden means to me. didn't mean to get so philosophical, but when I came out here, but as I say, my garden, I have two places where I can be totally in the moment. And one is when I'm cooking, and one is when I'm gardening. Any rate, that is that. Things are looking pretty good. It's a gorgeous day here. It's still kind of warm, although today is a little bit cooler, which gives me some hope that maybe we're going to get some more normalized temperatures. But golly, you know, I still have these amazing flowers blooming, and I'm just going to leave them because I've got so many pollinators out, and I want to support those pollinators, and I want to see some pretty flowers. So two good reasons, right? Thanks so much for watching. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, which is free, do so and join my little ever-growing circle of followers. I really enjoy connecting with people through this platform, and I learn from my followers as well as maybe some learn from me. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.